Guys, we've been talking about it all morning. Happy Super Bowl Eve, I suppose.
Let's do it. Are y'all ready?
Ready as we can be.
We got parties going.
Not me personally, just me and the fiance. Which, and I talked about this last hour. For doing the purposes of this job, where you know you're going to have to like break the game down and talk about it from like a analytical perspective, going to a party throws all that out the window because you're talking to people and you can't hear the broadcast and you miss plays. Like, I kind of prefer to be locked in on the game and, you know, use the commercial breaks and stuff to get food and whatnot. But like when the game is going on, I like to be like locked in like a normal game.
Yeah. So, all right, two things. First of all, 803-404-6100, Firehouse Subs text line. I need some good recipes. So tell me, you don't have to post the whole thing on there, but tell us your favorite go-to football party recipe. Dips, I'm sure will be very popular. And I feel like the Super Bowl is the most watched, least watched game ever.
I agree with that.
By the numbers, it is clearly the most watched game. Like, it's on the most TVs. But it's also the most background game you can possibly have. Because how many people that don't actually normally watch football are at a football Super Bowl party and aren't really watching?
And that's kind of the genius of the Super Bowl itself, is they have something for everyone. If you're a diehard sports fan, you're watching the game. If you're just an entertainment fan, you're going to watch the Super Bowl halftime show. If you're, a whatever casual person, you're going to pay attention to the commercials and talk about the funny Doritos commercial on Monday or whatever. Like, it gives you an element of everything, no matter what you're watching for.
Yeah, and I'm here for it. Honestly, I'm here for the commercials as well. Always here for the food. Hopefully it's a good game.
I think it will be.
I'm here for the game if it's a good game. If it's not, then my attention span will be quickly elsewhere.
On the crackers and buffalo chicken dip.
So
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence on the TV, by the way.
Okay.
Everybody is booing. All the Gamecock fans like the bowl game. That was hilarious. Except for Wes, who's cheering. I'm just kidding. You remember that, though?
Wes hopes
We
everybody
accused you
has
of cheering
fun.
for Trevor Lawrence.
I do remember that.
So Tyler's off at the Super Bowl party. He finds his own spot. Did you happen to hear, since he was stolen away from us so rudely, we don't know, we can't ask Preston. There's an empty chair here in his honor. He's now in the early game. But Tyler, you get to hear him.
Yes.
So does Preston, do you think he has the same watching cadence during the Super Bowl as the Carolina games? You've heard about how he watches the USC games, right?
I don't think I was in here when he talked about that.
Okay, he does in his bedroom, right? Is this right, Wes? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's in his bedroom, not the living room.
Okay.
They're watching bedroom TV, and he's got, nobody can see this because we're not on a stream yet, a video stream. He's got like his knee up, like on the bed,
All right.
like the arms crossed, and he's just like watching the TV.
He does that for the entire 3.5 hours of a Carolina game.
Kind of sounded like it when he's not eating, or maybe takes a bathroom break every now and then.
So is the rest of the, like, nobody else is in there with him, just him?
I think it's just him because he needs like space.
Got to focus.
Yeah, big time.
That is surprising to me. I've not heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get the feeling that's more just a South Carolina nervous.
Yeah. I don't think that's the Super Bowl thing.
Sort of like something he has to do. Like, it's a superstition, I think.
We should have brought him in here for the segment that we were promised that we still haven't gotten, the Preston segment.
No.
Preston, come back.
Not even one.
I did. He's apparently a really big Rihanna fan. Him and Kendall talked about that at the end of the early game, which I'm a fan of Rihanna myself. He's a even bigger fan than I am. That was an interesting fact to learn.
Huh.
Well, so not only have they stolen Preston from us, they're now trying to steal Kendall from the GC.
I'm not surprised.
3 hours
That's what
as
they
well.
do. That's how they operate here.
Yeah,
Poaching everybody.
poaching everybody. I'm sure Kendall did fantastic, though. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really interested to see what the halftime show is. She obviously has a huge catalog to pull from. And don't y'all think we're going to get some like additional surprise people in there? Like, that's kind of a given.
That's always the case. Yeah, that's especially with all the connections she has and the people she's done songs with, Eminem, stuff like that, there's definitely going to be some surprises.
It'll be good. It'll be good. We don't have a Gamecock Central commercial this year.
Just missed out on the budget.
Yeah.
Golly, our budget's about to apparently skyrocket because we're going to have the GC Tower on the new land. That'll be the first building that goes up. It'll be the tallest one. He's like, which one's the GC Tower? Just look up.
Look up at the, remember my QR code in the sky.
The QR code in the sky. We'll have a helicopter pad on top for Shoes Helicopter.
Yeah. Did y'all see the guy? Y'all know who Mr. Beast is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he's basically like, hey, if you want to reach X millions of people, just holler at me. You don't have to do a Super Bowl ad.
Right.
This is true.
That's a flex, though.
It really is.
I know when you can be like, yeah, my audience is, it's roughly they're like, how many people do you reach? I don't know, Super Bowl.
He has like
Super Bowl
108.
commercial.
I think he has like 180 million YouTube subscribers, and I think the average viewership of the Super Bowl is like 120 million. So yeah, he's eclipsed it pretty good.
A 30-second Super Bowl ad slot. Y'all know what it is this year?
It's got to be $1 billion, right?
$1 billion.
$1 billion?
No, not
He
a
went
bi-
with a B? Woo.
$7 million.
That's
I was
it.
going to ask for. I was gonna
That's
say five.
it.
From a company standpoint, 7 million. I thought it was way higher than that.
Well, you went B. Billion.
Hey, I shoot high on The Price is Right.
Yeah.
You can't go over though. You
$1
go
dollar
over.
miss.
Okay, yeah, maybe $1 billion's a little too much.
$7 million price tag.
I would have guessed somewhere in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Nope, 7 million. You somehow managed to make 7 million sound cheap. It's impressive.
When you measure it against $1 billion,
I guess so.
it tends to look that way. Not nearly as big.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about today, Chris?
Who is? I was just looking over this list because I wanted to make sure. I was pretty sure. I wanted to make sure 100% that there was no like stray Gamecock on a practice roster or something for either of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not, right? Unless I'm wildly badly mistaken. Who's the next? Who's the first or the next, however you want to think of it, Gamecock to get a ring? I'm sitting here looking at the list. Is it Debo? Trevor Lawrence is up there today on First Take. Debo was on there yesterday when we were in here. Big time appearance for him.
Debo's got a great shot at it.
I see some guys that don't have a great shot right now. Yeah, I think you got to. I mean, Hayden Hurst, right, with the Bengals.
I'd say he's probably got a better shot with the Bengals
Okay.
as of right now.
Well,
So Ken Law and Debo.
Lamont's
Chris
got,
Lamons is with the Bengals.
dropped
He got dropped. Okay.
by
Updated.
the Chiefs, and then I think picked up by the Bengals.
That's right. He's listed with the Bengals right now.
Hey, I got a completely different topic.
Wes is like, we're going to scrap that. That wasn't good.
So, something that Spencer Rattler said Tuesday got completely just glossed over. And it was when we were talking about AB, Martin Brown, for those who don't know,
I'm glad you're bringing this up.
versus Nicholas Harbor.
Mhm.
And Spencer, without being introduced with this name, said, hey, Nicky Mawari may be in this conversation as well, because our thought process was, okay, who's the fastest guy on the team this coming year? Nick's not on campus yet, but eventually that race is going to have to happen. And the distance of that race will probably be a determining factor.
Yep.
However, Spencer nonchalantly said, hey, Eamon Wari is, a guy to watch here as well. He may be the fastest. I can't remember Spencer's quote. He may get him. Well, so we got a mention here from the Mac and Dino podcast on YouTube. He said, he brought this to my attention. There was an Instagram video yesterday of AB and Eamon Wari racing. It appeared to be a 40-yard dash, and it appears that Nick got him.
Yeah.
So Nick, we already knew was I mean, crazy athlete. Like, he should be, what is the Bruce Feldman Freaks list?
Yep.
Both he and Nick, I think, will be on the Freaks list, guaranteed, this coming season. But we already knew all the way back when we were at camp when Eamon Worry blew up and got the Carolina offer. We already knew he tested off the charts. But I honestly don't think if we were talking about fastest player on the team that we would have brought him up.
No.
He's not the first guy you think of. But you have really two guys who are just big dudes who can run on this team. Xavier Legette is in that conversation as well, actually. But for Nick, I mean, Nick may actually be the fastest guy on this team. And I didn't see it with my own eyes. I think you saw it with your own eyes. We've seen Amari Brown throw down an easy 4.3, maybe a 4.2 something on a hand time.
Casual.
At camp.
Yeah, just not during a workout, nothing, just messing around. I feel like running a 40 day, do a little warm up, little stretch. 4.3. I think sub. I think you're right, Wes. I think it was right below, right at a 4.3. To see that in person, by the way, is something else. Like if you're standing to the side and somebody runs past you running a 4.3, it's absolutely hauling. But yeah, so Nick puts up on Instagram yesterday this video of him and AB racing, and whoever's filming it, I mean, they're right, they're probably standing at like the 50 or something. And Nick does look to get him, which is crazy.
Well, and he claims to get him.
I think he did
on the Instagram. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think he could claim it to the world. With the video. With video. It's not like you caught a fish and nobody actually saw the fish.
That happens a lot.
But with the video,
I've seen it.
Yeah, I think he would be called out. Like it looks like he got him, and he's claiming he got him, and AB hasn't disputed it.
And it was a massive troll too. I mean, he was like looking at him when they crosses the finish line, like laughing at him. And then somebody else put on his story here, Nick Eamon he's making a case for the fastest player on the team. He said, "Ain't no case." He says it's done, and calls out Xavier Legette. That was another dude that Spencer mentioned, right? I think he said Legette is up there, or he's one of the fastest guys on the team. Remember, we've heard some anecdotal evidence too for that, like dating back to when Xavier was a freshman, hearing about him covering kicks and stuff and punts. You're like, man, if you had a stopwatch on that dude, he was like 4.3, So, but Harbor, like, this may be controversial to some people. Like, Harbor ran a 40, Nicholas Harbor did, at the Under Armour week. And he was like 4.5. It's not like he went out there. You would think, oh, he's an Olympic track guy. He's probably going to run a 4.2 or something. His is more, long speed. Like if you give him 60 meters, you have no chance. If you give him 100, if you give him 200, you have no chance. But in a 40, a little different.
Electronically timed, though, I think.
I think it was electronic.
Because I saw he was in a battle with a guy that was like 5'8".
I think it was Dylan Edwards who went to Colorado, right? The running back.
I think that's right.
And it was a very, very, very close.
And he ended up, I think Harbor's second run was in the 4.4s. But it gives you an idea. Like long strides. And it'd be interesting to see how much faster Harbor gets as his career develops. But even in those races, I mean, people stick with him. And again, I'm talking about the races like where he's at nationals. He's the fastest guys in the entire country, and they're all like a foot shorter than him. And they stick with him for the first, section of the race. And then he just is gone.
Those strides.
Long strides, man. So, but Nick Eamon, I don't think I would have had that on the bingo card for fastest guy on the team, although maybe we should have. I think you just look at his size and you're like, no.
Now, do you think the conversation y'all had with Spencer sparked this race taking place? Because it's very convenient this happened right after he talked about it.
Well, I did. I don't know. I think Nick does seem a little bit, y'all forgetting about me. Maybe he saw on our YouTube where I had the little Marion Brown versus Nick Carver thing going on and Spencer talking about it. And then we gave Nick no love.
Well,
I should have.
I'm just going to say that absolutely that was the reason why. It is very convenient. That's a great point, Tyler.
It's not a coincidence.
Yes. Next headline is Nicky Mawari, the fastest guy on the South Carolina football team. Find out today.
So it shows even the Gamecocks are reading Gamecock Central. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed.
Yes.
Boom. And with that, we'll head into our first timeout on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs right here on 107.5 The Game.
Have you missed any of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour?
You can catch up at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
1075 The Game on-demand podcast menu. Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
This is Damon Amendolara with your CBS Sports Minute. As distasteful as the Nets' garage sale was, it's actually exactly what the NBA needed. The West had almost no juice this year. And now you got a pair of newly reconfigured contenders slapped together overnight. Did KD find salvation? Will Kyrie drag down another franchise? Find out next on TNT. This is Damon Amendolara.
CBS Sports Radio.
Hiring can be a headache. That's why there's Indeed, the hiring platform that removes the hassle. Sponsor a job and immediately get a short list of quality candidates. And you can schedule and conduct video interviews right on their site. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you're at your best, you can do great things. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of yourself. Because when you feel empowered, you're more ready for life's challenges. BetterHelp is a great therapy option. It's flexible, affordable, entirely online, and it matches you with a licensed therapist. Let therapy help empower you. Visit BetterHelp.com/tryit to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/tryit.
It's O-Rewards Bonus Points Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Shop in-store or online to earn points and get rewarded at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Hook and Ladder has been a Firehouse Subs original since day one. It's piled high with Virginia honey ham, smoked turkey breast, and melted Monterey Jack. To top it off, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. That's why at Firehouse Subs, they don't just make subs, they make subs that are big, bold, and craveable. They make their subs differently because their subs make a difference. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips here for Integrated Media. You know, one of the reasons we all live here in South Carolina is the weather, right? We love being outside as often as we can. And these days, Integrated Media is enhancing that life by installing amazing outdoor home theater systems that give you the best of both worlds. Amazing picture and sound from equipment built to be outside. From completely weatherproof SunBright TVs to Sonos soundbars or in-ground speakers and subwoofers, Integrated can completely change how you and your family enjoy time on the deck, patio, or around the pool. Call 803-948-8327. Let Integrated Media come out to your house, see exactly what they can do for you when it comes to an outdoor system. And when you couple it with Integrated Media's professional-grade Wi-Fi, you won't believe the home theater experience is just as good outside. Check out some of their work on Facebook and Instagram, then call 803-948-8327. Home theater, Wi-Fi that works everywhere, home security, and much more. Do it all better with Integrated Media.
Here's attorney Eric Moan for the Hood Team.
The two things with the Hood Team I think are the best. They combine the personal approach of a small operation with the assets and professionalism of a big operation. You put those two together and they just can't be beat.
I'm Danny Hood.
And I'm Karen Hood.
And I'm William DiMaggio.
We're
the Hood Team at Coldwell Banker Realty.
Give us a call
at 803-730-2512
or online at thehoodteam.com.
Hey, South Carolina, Scott here from Traditions with good news if you're in the market for an engagement ring or for diamond jewelry, because we have the largest selection you'll see anywhere in the Southeast. And whether you're in the market for a traditional mine diamond or for one of these amazing new lab-grown diamonds, we've got you covered. Because whether you're buying mined or lab, you'll be happy to know that at Traditions, we guarantee the trade-in value of both kinds of diamonds at our store. So if the day comes where you want an even bigger diamond, we'll be happy to give you full value you paid for your original when you trade it in. Even better, we have over 1,000 diamond rings in stock, so you'll get to try on pretty much every style imaginable, and if you still don't see exactly the right design, we'll be glad to custom make it for you. And yes, we have interest-free financing for qualified buyers. So come see us and get the ring of your dreams with a diamond of your choice, only at Traditions Fine Jewelers, South Carolina's diamond superstore and customization destination, on Sunset in Lexington and at the Fountain in Sand Hills, where the Midlands get engaged.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour.
Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Back in on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you on 1075 The Game. Continue our conversation about team speed. Greg weighs in on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. He says he's seen Zay's speed in person, legit 4.3, and he says if he ever gets an invite to your first is the Underwear Olympics, the NFL Combine, he thinks teams will be very, very impressed.
That is interesting. Xavier Leggett, I mean, I feel like we say it often, maybe too often. He's that guy that you just keep waiting on, in terms of the production matching the physical tool set. And I think when you look back at his career, you can find several reasons, and there have been several different reasons, like why it hasn't happened yet. Let's dive a little bit more into that, maybe a little bit more Nick Ebenwari and other guys, Wes, here in a second. But first, we mentioned Firehouse Subs. We mentioned the Super Bowl. How about a Firehouse Subs platter, Wes, for the Super Bowl? That sounds pretty good to me. Go to their website, check out firehousesubs.com. Now, if you just want the sub of the day, if you just want lunch, you don't need a platter yet, go to firehousesubs.com or walk in their store or check out the Firehouse Subs app and their rewards program. You can get a sub of the day every day. Jamaican jerk turkey. Spicy Cajun chicken was yesterday. Jamaican jerk turkey on Friday. That's $5.99 for a small, $7.99 for a medium. Any of the 14 Midlands Firehouse Subs location. And if you want a Firehouse Subs platter for your Super Bowl party, if you can't think of anything to take to somebody's house, for example, for the big game, how about a Firehouse Subs platter? Go visit their website, check them out. Appreciate them being a part of the show. Yeah, Xavier Leggett, Wes, big. You even told Spencer, like, this dude is way bigger than you would think. Like, if you get close to him on the practice field, there's some weird, I don't know, it's like an optical illusion even. You see him on the field, then you go see him like in person down on the field. Way bigger. He can run. He's obviously got some ball skills. He's got the kick return skills. I think his emergence this year, and we've obviously got plenty of time to go until the ball is kicked to begin this season, but never too early to talk about it. That's what we do. Man, his emergence would be huge.
Yeah, I think that, God, we saw flashes. Like we saw some glimpses last year. And, for all the hand-wringing about the offense and, not getting the ball to this guy, not getting the ball to that guy for a lot of the year, I also like to give credit where it's due, too. I thought starting to use Leggett as a runner and just taking out the component of completing the ball down the field was really big for the offense and for him. We saw them, especially once they didn't have Marshawn Lloyd, they tried to be a little bit more creative in how they got their running game going. And I think Leggett was massive in that. He had the down moments this year. Of course, the two passes. I think right or wrong, some people maybe just completely wrote him off after the two drops against SC State. And obviously those were not good moments for him, and I'm sure he wants to forget them. But I thought he bounced back after that, and I thought he hung in there. And we talked about the catch in the bowl game. I mean, you don't even attempt to make that catch if you don't have some baseline talent here. And so I think you always have guys who take a finish to the year and they use it to springboard themselves into the next year. And a lot of times it's upperclassmen. It may not be guys who made the early impact. It may not be guys who have been impacting consistently for their entire career, but confidence is just such a key ingredient to all of this. So we'll see. We've kind of been waiting on it. We saw flashes, had some big catches throughout the year, but you look at obviously having Juice Wells back. The more we hear, it really sounds like these tight ends are going to be a big part of what Carolina does, even though they've had to completely revamp the room. Here's the question. I'm looking at the stats from last year right now. Leggett, 18 catches for 167 yards. Pretty far down the list, actually. But it's not nothing. It's not a 4-catch year. 18 catches. Can he double that? Because that would put you, just for context, that puts him right along what Jalen Brooks did this past year. And I think if you look at the tight ends that are back and you have some pass catchers there, can you get 25, 30 catches from Trey Knox? I think that's realistic. Jaheim Bell caught 25 balls for 231 last year. And Josh Van and Xavier Leggett actually caught the exact same amount of passes last year, 18. So could you double that for Leggett to 36? You got Eddie Lewis coming in. We'll see what happens at receiver transfer portal. Do they take another guy? I still think Elijah Caldwell actually could play early. But, I mean, is 36 catches out of the realm of possibility for Xavier Leggett?
I think it's quite possible. Something else, by the way, real quick, Wes, Spencer mentioned, said, and you kind of hit on that too. He's like, this is a guy he can do some different things. Obviously kick return, he's got speed. He can also be used on sweeps and things like that. We saw a little bit of that last year. Maybe we see more because they are going to have to get, I think, more creative in the run game. And I think they're going to have to let the scheme. Now we'll have to see. I mean, they have pretty much got to go get a portal running back. Another one, I think, after spring. So we'll see. But right now, with the personnel they've got, you kind of get the sense that the scheme is going to have to be more responsible for the run game, if that makes sense. Last year, you had Marshawn Lloyd breaking 7 tackles on a play, jumping over people. Might not have that. So the scheme, the tempo, how you're administering the offense, I think is going to have to help you out a little bit more. So a guy like Leggett could play into that. But I think, Wes, what if Xavier Leggett takes sort of a similar jump in like career path as like Josh Van, right? So Josh's big season was in 2021. It was year 4 for him. This will be year 5 for Xavier, so a little different. But Josh's first 3 years, he had 18 catches, 19 catches, and 10 catches. And he struggled with inconsistencies, whether it was his hands, whatever it may have been. There's some parallels to be had there because Josh Van obviously has talent. He responded in 2021 when he was even more needed, had his best season, had 43 catches, 679 yards, 5 touchdowns. So when you look at it, I do think there's more guys. Like Josh Van was the lead dog that year. Juice Wells is going to be the lead dog this year. But I think it's very fair to anticipate or think that Leggett could make that jump because you don't go, well, I don't know if he has the talent to do it. He does. I don't think that's in question.
And the kickoff return aspect as well. I mean, I'll be the first to say when I heard about that, I was like, I get it. Big, fast, physical. But I thought Juju had done a pretty good job with that as a true freshman the year before. And then Leggett pretty much just took that job from him. And then, you kind of see why as the year progressed. and they liked having that big guy. Well, we'll see if does Nick Harbor get a shot at kickoff return. That I feel like, Chris, is actually going to be a topic that gets beat around by the fan base quite a bit. And I think there are going to be some very strong opinions from both sides. I think it's going to be, you have, like if Usain Bolt was on a NFL team, the guy's going to be returning kicks. You don't take the fastest guy on the planet and not have him returning kicks. So then I think there'll be the other side of, look, the guy is 6'5", 230. Do you want him getting hit like that? Is there, I know that the perception has always been that there are increased risks on special teams. Maybe I'm a dummy. I don't know. I don't know if the actual numbers back that up or if that's just something that has been repeated over and over and over again.
People are saying?
Yes. So, I think that would be part of that argument is you have an Olympic guy who has come to South Carolina and sort of trusted everybody here. But you also can't play football thinking about not getting hurt. Like you just have to go play.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's going to be some very strong opinions on either side of that, and we've gotten into a completely different conversation at this point. But maybe we can ask Pete Limbo if we can get him in studio.
It'd be phenomenal.
Sounds good. With that, we'll head to the break. Come back on the other side. Got more texts coming in on the Firehouse Subs text line. Again, 803-404-6100. Be right back on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs.
You want Firehouse to take care of dinner?
Just go to 1075thegame.com or the 1075 The Game app and test your knowledge with the 1075 The Game's Big Game Challenge.
Whoever gets the most questions right from Sunday's big game wins from Firehouse Subs and 1075 The Game.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
And we're happy to have been voted Lexington's best glass store for 13 years in a row.
Many drivers are unaware that your cracked windshields can be replaced, usually at absolutely no cost to you.
If all the high-end car dealerships in town can trust us to do their glass needs, so can you.
We service the Midlands both at our shop in Lexington, but we are also happy to come to you at home or work.
Find us online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. And remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
It's Terry Ford from 1075 The Game. With me right now is our buddy Adam Vance from Sound and Images doing this commercial, despite the fact he was just tased by our building security. Adam, we have a big broadcast on Sunday before the LSU-USC women's basketball game. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Right before that, the women's Gamecock basketball team is taking on LSU. It's going to be a packed house. We're going to have our friends from Crisp Event Rentals right there with us. His name is BJ Phillips, everyone. BJ Phillips.
We ran everything from tables and chairs to dance floors and tents and stages and anything you can think of. We could probably hook you up with it.
Not only is Sound and Images going to be there with Adam Vance, but Crisp Event Rentals will be there as well. And there's also a good cause.
Yes, our nonprofit spotlight for this show is going to be Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. You can go to midlandsfathers.com. We've worked with them for a long time. Great organization.
Special on-site pregame before LSU and USC brought to you by Sound and Images and Crisp Event Rentals right here on your home of the Gamecocks, 1075 The Game.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stopped. Opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram and has struggled with eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text TEEN to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by a Facebook whistleblower suggest Instagram and Facebook know their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by Instagram addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text TEEN to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text TEEN to 323232 or call 800-768-4026 and speak with an attorney.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice attorney Donald A. Migliore is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
This Valentine's Day, skip the rush on cards, chocolates, and flowers and give your loved ones what they really want, an insanely clean home from the pros at Zerorez. Their patented process uses ZR water technology to clean your carpets and other surfaces like no other. And with no residue, your carpets stay cleaner longer. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour
With Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Back in on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you, rolling along on your Friday morning. Steve-O weighs in on the Firehouse Subs text line 803-404-6100 in reference to the conversation about Xavier Legette. He said he will forever be a legend for his kickoff return against A&M. The one shoe, the peace sign, the curse is broken. He's a legend.
Dude, the peace sign. I don't know what the best part was because you had all these different elements. Like, first of all, it's starting the game. He comes out of this scrum. The shoe's gone.
The shoe being gone is like the cherry on top.
That's what Spencer said. He was like, I mean, you saw him on that kick return with no shoe.
He came out of like 2 separate scrums, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like he disappeared, and then it's like, oh, A&M does not want to tackle this big guy.
Here he is.
And the fact is that, I mean, you look at how that game played out. I don't know if Carolina wins the game without... It just set the momentum for that entire contest. By the way, we had a comment here from Travis, our good friend, on the YouTube chat, and he says the problem with the idea of Harbor is that football is not played in a straight line. You know, and that's a good point. But here, you often hear people say something like that about returns. I feel like there's a very big difference between a successful kickoff returner and a successful punt returner. Punt returner, first of all, obviously much different catching a punt than a kickoff. A kickoff is actually, for anybody with some athleticism, anybody who plays football at that level, catching a kickoff, not really that difficult at all. Catching a punt, you can be a really, really good football player, super athlete, and still struggle to catch punts because it's a different trajectory. The ball moves around when it gets up there, depending on who kicked it and how they kicked it. So you have to consider those things. But a punt returner, I want Ace Sanders. I want a guy who with quickness. I want a guy who can make people miss. I want the short line explosiveness. And when you hear that cliche about, he can make somebody miss in a phone booth, that's who I want as my punt returner. The great kickoff returns actually are very much sort of straight line, I feel like. And when I say straight line, I don't mean a literal straight line. I mean that you're putting your foot down and you're going. There's really not a lot of juking. There might be one cut or 2 cuts, but it's more of a sort of let me get north and south and get an angle type cut as opposed to actually juking someone. So, I think Harbor doesn't fit the mold by any means of a punt returner. But if he can run through arm tackles, which with his size, he can, you're talking about a kickoff return. There is room for you to get to max speed. You know, like we were talking about short bursts versus long speed and long stride. There absolutely is time to use that long speed in a kickoff return situation, which is why I think you at least highly consider it.
So, buy or sell, Wes, on the spot. By the way, remember, I won buy or sell. The one that I did like in August for Nick Carver. Said that he would sign with South Carolina. It was like way too early. Won that one. But buy or sell, is Nick Carver in? You know how they have like 5 or 6 guys working punt return? Maybe not that many guys working kick return during practice. Is he one of those?
Oh, yeah, I'll buy that.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say buy or sell. Does he return a kick next year? And I would have been a little more iffy on that. But buy or sell that he is catching them in practice and they're having a look at the possibility. I would buy that.
I like it.
I would buy that.
Now, here's another one. Is Eddie Lewis, make your very early prediction, is he the punt returner next year?
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say that too.
He's got experience doing it. His punt return season last year is like almost, I don't want to say it's 1-to-1 to what Josh Van did, but it is very scarily similar as far as the outcomes. So I would say yes. I think Josh did a phenomenal job of catching punts last year and looking extremely comfortable doing it. He caught one of them off his shoe tips. I think that was the SC State game. I don't know if no, Missouri. I don't know which game it was. I'm not going to pretend I did. But, I mean, casual. I mean, he made it look so easy, and that is not easy to do at all. So I would say with Josh being gone, yeah, AB will be one of the guys catching them in practice. He'll be in the conversation, but I would think Eddie Lewis would have a really good shot at that. And John weighing in on Facebook saying return men need to be not only fast, but quick. See, I disagree. Kick return guys, it's all about the deep speed, the long speed, in my opinion, I should say. Punt returners, yes, it's way more about quickness than speed. But also with kickoff returners, there is an aspect of just having guts. You got to hit. Yeah. It's a different kind than punt return. Punt return, you got to have the guts and the mental fortitude to catch that thing with 85,000 people looking at you and everybody bearing down on you, and you're looking up into the lights. And if you drop it, the other team has probably a better than 50-50 chance of getting on it. Kickoff return, you can drop the thing and you still have plenty of time to pick it up. Mm-hmm. The guts that are involved in kickoff return is that you are building speed and you are running directly into that first wave of defenders, that first point of contact and it's usually about, depending on how well you block, it's right around the 20, 25, 30-yard line, depending on all those variables. And you're starting to get to full speed and they're close to full speed. And if it's blocked up, you've got a hole. And if it's not, then the crowd's going to be making that ooh noise because you just got nailed.
Yeah. I mean, we saw like Debo Samuel. I mean, we referenced this one recently. Eric Douglas tried to catch the ball as an up back. It gets past him. Debo kind of scoots around. Debo finds it, picks it up, and runs it for a touchdown. You can't really do that with a punt return. And I did. Well, I think it was the first maybe preseason media day, like in the fall, when Pete Limbo first got here. And I went over and picked his brain about a bunch of stuff. As you can imagine, he's got a lot of thoughts on special teams, and asked him about those techniques with, punt and kick returners, kind of how you differentiate those guys, how you identify them. And it was really fascinating to hear. Hopefully he can give us some more of that at some point. But yeah, he said, look, it's a completely different technique, to your point.
With that, run to our last time out, come back on the other side and wrap up the Friday edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game On Demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. It's our ultimate Sleep Number event. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
Hey, Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelers. Everybody knows that we have the best selection of engagement ring styles in the Southeast, with over 1,000 styles to choose from. What amazes folks is that we also have the best prices. How do we do that? In Mine Diamonds, by working directly with site holders, the cutting companies that buy their rough diamonds directly from De Beers. And in the lab-grown diamonds, by working directly with laboratories that actually grow and cut the diamonds. No middlemen, better prices, only at Traditions Fine Jewelers.
Washington led the revolution. Lincoln saved the nation. Now, Galliana Kia is making history with the best deals in years. Gotta go to Galliana. America loves a great deal, and Galliana Kia delivers new Kias with zip, zero, nothing down, and zero payments for the next 3 months. Plus, at Galliana Kia, we'll get you out of your current lease or loan, even if you're over mileage, have months left, or still owe thousands. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. If you've got a job and you make at least $2,000 per month, our lenders can get you approved. Don't make a car buying mistake if you want a great deal without the hassle. Gotta go to Galliana. Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Rio stock number 3K1107. $278 per month for 84 months at 6.9 APR. Price plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity finance new loan subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen each Sunday morning at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital Incorporated.
Number 1, South Carolina, and number 3, LSU will go at it inside the Colonial Life Arena Sunday, and 107.5 The Game will be doing a special local pregame outside of CLA with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford
From 12 noon to 1:30 p.m.
Stop by and say hi on your way in to see the biggest game of the year in the SEC. That's Jay and Terry from noon to 1:30.
Sponsored by Sound and Images.
Then the network pregame show, followed by tip-off at 2 p.m. USC versus LSU. You can hear all the action on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour.
Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Back in on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you for a few more minutes. I wanted to pose a question to you guys, continuing on the conversation relating to special teams. You mentioned Eddie Lewis being the potential punt returner for this fall, and he obviously had a great career doing that at Memphis. What can he improve on and get better at working with a guy like Pete Limbo here at South Carolina?
Everything. I mean, Limbo's just so detail oriented. Like, he thinks about stuff with special teams that nobody else even considers. I will say this though, I do wonder, and I'll be honest, we're doing this on the fly. I don't know what direction Memphis went after Limbo, but there's probably maybe still some carryover because Limbo was at Memphis on their coaching their special teams before, and I guess Lewis and Limbo would not have been there at the same time. Limbo may have been there when Lewis was being recruited, potentially, to Memphis.
Yeah. I mean, I think Limbo improves just those guys. I mean, you kind of look at the trajectory individually and as a unit. The guys just get better. I mean, you got to have talent, right? I mean, Darius Rush running down and covering punts. Josh Van and his hands for punt return. Kai Kroger, Mitch Jeter, those guys are naturally talented, but there is, when you look at just the body of work, there is evidence that he has improved those guys. So, you could say that Eddie Lewis working in Pete Limbo's schemes as a punt returner is going to have, maybe he gets a little bit more of a window, for instance, to be able to break a punt return. Whereas at Memphis, and they were, I think they were still solid on special teams for the most part, but, maybe the sum makes, some of the individual parts a little bit better. Before we move on, wanted to take a second to let you guys know about Amy Mason Cup State Farm. All across the country, drivers are reaping the rewards of safer driving. With the updated Drive Safe and Save app from State Farm, it has dynamic new features like interactive maps and driving tips. And the pursuit of your discounts now even easier. You can earn up to 30% if you download the Drive Safe and Save app from State Farm to get started. And to do that, you can stop by your local State Farm agent's office, and they'll be happy to help sign you up. And that here, for everyone in the Midlands, is Amy Mason Cup. Office is at 612 St. Andrews Road, Suite 4 in Columbia, just off of I-26. South Carolina native, local agent. She and her team can give you a personalized quote to meet your needs and help you save. Easy to switch and save, just like my family did. Visit her website, Amy Mason Cup, MASINCUPP.com. Let her help her family, just like she helped mine. That's Amy Mason Cup. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Yeah, so Eddie Lewis, very intriguing player. Like, you mentioned that he had the 1-for-1, Wes, almost with Josh Van's punt production, but I think you look at, like, Josh Van did not have, obviously, the year in 2022 that he had in 2021. 2021, 43 catches. He was kind of the guy. Last year, he was more of a complimentary part, but still made some big plays. I think he only had 18 catches, but his work as a punt returner was huge. Even if it wasn't big plays, he was so reliable there. To me, Wes, I look at Eddie Lewis. Obviously, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but he is on campus. Spencer Rattler talked with us about him the other day, said he was a smart player, experienced, good hands, explosive, had a lot of really complimentary things to say. I look at Eddie Lewis as kind of a very logical, not same player, but kind of that one-to-one replacement for Josh Van.
Yeah, I think, something I've noticed, they tend to like when guys can play multiple spots at receiver and have some just the ability to move around. I think you look at Eddie, could be a slot, could be an outside guy. That really helps you in terms of getting the best three on the field. If you're looking at this as an offense that's going to play, three receivers a lot of the time. And so I think you got several guys on this offense that can play either both outside spots or can play in the slot and outside. And so Eddie comes in. He had some reps on the inside at Memphis. He had some reps on the outside. And I think will give you some versatility if you feel like Marion Brown or DeCarrion Joyner are one of your top three, then I think that obviously those guys are more slot guys. So then I think you could have Eddie Lewis on the outside. If you feel like, hey, wow, Legette's had the best offseason of his career. We see him as a starter. Juice is going to be a starter somewhere. So then maybe it's, well, hey, Legette's a starter. He's earned a spot outside. And then you say, well, we're going to let Eddie Lewis compete at the slot, with Amarian Brown and DeCarrion Joyner. So I think having that ability to play inside or outside is also going to get him on the field. And that's the way Josh was as well. Josh played part of his career at the slot, part of his career outside. And, both these guys are like not the biggest, but they're also not the smallest either, if that makes sense. It's like they're not a 6'5" guy, but they're not Ace Sanders either. So that gives them some versatility to play multiple spots. They have quickness. I wouldn't say they necessarily are going to be in that conversation now that Nicky Maworie's in with the fastest player on the team, but also they're going to be in the top 10, not slow. I think like they're going to be in the conversation as well.
And plenty of experience coming back in that group. Although there's some guys that you're still as final year guys, as seniors that you're waiting to, even a Marion Brown, who you mentioned earlier. Like, I think we're still waiting on him to have his biggest year. Him, Xavier, certainly Eddie Lewis in his final season too, but plenty of experience coming back.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this week's edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Real quick before we get out of here, you guys want to throw your Super Bowl score predictions out there?
Oh, man. I'll go 34-31 Eagles.
Okay. Eagles 31, Chiefs 27.
Okay. I said last hour Eagles 28-27, so we're all riding with the Eagles then. We'll see how correct we are on Monday morning then. All right, that'll do it for this week's edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs. For Tyler, Wes, and Chris, we'll be heading on to the halftime show